2018 Toyota Tundra. First thing you want to do is start the truck, and the reason you want to do that is you need to remove these two screws that are behind the steering wheel that hold the lower steering column cover on. So go ahead and, like I said, start the truck and take those two screws out, and then you're going to remove this lower steering column cover. Easier if you put the tilt wheel down and pull it all the way out. Okay, now the steering column cover is removed. What you're going to do now is remove the two 10 millimeters from the lower dash so that you can take out this lower dash panel. One is the one I just showed you, which is over here next to the center console. And then the other one is behind the kick panel here. So you just want to take some sort of a tool that you can pry with that's not going to scratch the kick panel and remove that 10 millimeter bolt right there. Once you've removed those two bolts, you want to remove this end panel from the side of the dashboard. What that's going to allow you to do is go ahead and pull this panel right down. Alright, so now we have this panel pulled down. You're looking for a few connectors here, just three total. One is your main ignition connector. The other one is this 30-pin connector here. And the other one is your OBD connector, which is right here. That's the three connections that you need. First we'll start with the ignition connector and just unplug that. Okay, once you've got that unplugged, we're going to be mounting our remote starter here, right in this area here. So you're going to want to route your ignition wiring over around this metal brace, and then over above the ignition harness, and then up to the connector that you just unplugged. So the mating connectors that are on the remote starter, you're going to want to put up to that location. Alright, so once you get those connections made, you want to wire tie the harness to the main ignition harness so that it's out of your way. Then we're going to unplug this 30-pin connector, and we're going to plug the mating connectors from the remote starter into that location. Okay, so now that connection is made, what you're going to do now is you're going to run your OBD connector down to where the OBD is connected into the bracket. The way you remove the OBD connector from the bracket is you simply push in on each side of the OBD connector. On the sides of it, there's a clip. So if you push in on each side, that will pop right out of the dashboard, and then you can connect your new OBD connector to that location and then plug this one into the female OBD connector of the remote starter. Okay, now that connection is made, now you're ready to program the remote starter. Alright, all you do to program the starter is put the key in the ignition. You want to pay attention to this LED right here. Once the key is in the ignition, turn the key on. The LED is going to turn red and then turn blue. Once it turns blue, your remote starter is programmed to the vehicle. And there you have it. Now we're going to run the antenna wire. We're going to mount the antenna up here and then run the cable up in the headliner. And then this rubber gasket comes off. We're just going to run it down and in behind the dash here over to where the remote starter is going to be mounted. When you bring the antenna wire through here, you want to be careful. This is an airbag, so you want to make sure that the antenna wire goes behind the airbag and not in front of it, so that if there was ever an accident, the airbag could deploy properly. What I do is what we call tack learn, and what this does is it teaches the engine RPM to the remote starter. So you want to start the truck. You want to put your foot on the brake pedal, and while your foot is on the brake pedal, you're going to hold the remote starter button down until the LED on the right side of the remote starter goes out. You hear one click from the remote starter. That means the engine RPM has been learned by the remote starter. Once we've learned tack, we can now test the remote starter. You're going to test it by remote starting it the same way that you would if when you learn tack. So you're going to hold the remote starter button down until the LED on the right side goes out. The truck will start, and then the lights will flash to confirm that the truck started. And there you have it. Now all you have to do is tie up the remote starter out of the way, and you put your dashboard and your steering column cover back together, and you're all set.